Hey party people, over 12 here, and welcome to the 24th Suburban Gooner podcast. We have Benji and Chris with us as usual. Hi Ben, hi Chris.
Howdy.
Hello.
And we have a special guest today. We have Glen Oglaza. How are you doing, Glenn?
Very well, thank you. That's a very flattering intro. Hi.
Do you want to have a quick talk about yourself, Glenn? Kind of who you are, your career, and when you first started supporting Arsenal?
Yeah, so I'm a television news reporter, and I spent 10 years as a senior reporter at ITN, and then 16 years doing politics for Sky News, political correspondent. And I've been supporting Arsenal since I was very little. I was actually brought up in South London, and my dad supports Fulham, although he doesn't go very often, so I got a soft spot for them. But I had an uncle who lived in Tufnell Park. He used to take me to Highbury, and that was the sort of beginning of the love there, really. And I was quite little. And my son now my youngest is 7, and he's here, but he's locked into his iPad at the moment and half watching Everton Man United game, and he goes with me quite often. We went to Wembley last weekend, and he absolutely loves it. So he's got Sebastian on the back of his shirt, number 10, of course.
Speaking of Wembley, guys, now that we've seen what they're doing with the tickets, what do you think of the kind of ballot situation, Glenn?
I think it's a scandal, and I've blogged on it, and I've tweeted on it. I actually managed to mention it on LBC as well the other morning, when I was doing a paper review on LBC. I think it's absolutely outrageous. I don't understand why there should be 40,000 neutrals in the cup final. What you need is 2 sets of passionate fans, cheering on their teams. And it was great at the semi-final. It was like a home game, wasn't it? So 50,000 of us. And if Hull can't, provide, or whatever team it is, can't sell enough tickets, well, happen, thank you very much. I think it's awful that a club like Arsenal with 45,000 season ticket holders and 150,000 members only gets 25,000 tickets for an FA Cup final. It's ridiculous. I mean, what is going on? What is the Wembley Club? 17,000 tickets for the Corn Sandwich Brigade. I think it's just a scandal.
Do you know the worst thing about all of this as well is I spoke to somebody in a work context. I spoke to somebody who owns a Club Wembley seat. I asked her about what she was doing with her. She's a Chelsea fan. And she said she bought the tickets a few years ago, the Club Wembley seat that she's got, which gives her priority to England games and basically all Wembley matches. So she bought them a few years ago when Chelsea had a load of players in the England team. And so I said, what are you doing about your seat for the FA Cup final? I take it you're not going to go to that. She said, no, I'll sell that on to somebody. I said, oh, okay, well, I might be interested. She said, yeah, no, it's fine. It'll be about £300. And I was like, what?
Blimey.
£300? Are you being serious? She went, yeah, no, I know I can get demand for it, so that's how much I sell it for. And I went, all right, fine, I'll go in for the ballot. Well, I don't need to go in for the ballot, but because I've got enough away points. But I just think that is an absolute outrage. And all this does is feeds like you said, Glenn, it just feeds the touts. And also the corporate companies like, I'm going to do a bit of naming and shaming here, although not really. Thompson are doing this deal where you can get an overnight stay and FA Cup final tickets for like £400. And quite frankly, that's outrageous.
Ludicrous.
That you're going to have to pay £400 to get a ticket.
Yeah, they're just exploiting people. It's just disgraceful. I don't know why the FA don't do something about it as well.
Ben, Steve, what do you think?
Sorry guys, I'm just booking my tickets on Thompson.
It's just gone up to 800.
No, I completely agree. I kind of the fact that it's there's going to be as many, if not more, neutrals than there are of each of the supporting team. I agree, Glenn. It's disgusting, really. In terms of like the away points and stuff like that, I agree with that. I mean, I have to go in the ballot because I don't have enough away points, but I agree with that. But yeah, how they can only give us 25,000 tickets is absolutely beyond me.
Well, here's an interesting point that I saw somebody make on Twitter. Given that you're talking about if you've got to do 3 away points, if you wanted to go to 3 away games in a season, let's just say Newcastle, Everton, Liverpool or something, or Manchester United you're going to see, you're probably spending over £300 over those 3 games anyway. So some people are trying to justify it by saying, actually, do you know what? Rather than take the 3 away games, you could just say, well, I would have spent £400 there anyway. So spending an extra £300 and getting to the final, I might as well do that. I mean, I know that's not really sort of in the spirit of supporting the team, but
Exactly. I think the away thing is okay because it's rewarding supporting the team. I think that's quite important.
What's your take on it, Ben?
Yeah, I can't really add much to that. I think you guys covered that well. It's tricky. My friend's a Chelsea fan, and he's there. He's got a membership, and they run a scheme where if you get over 90, I think it's 93 points in a season, you have the option to buy a season ticket at the end of it. And obviously things like Hull away are 4 points, Stoke away are 4 points, but someone like Fulham away is only 1 point. So I think it's quite a good scheme how that works. How obviously the more die-hard fans, I use that term loosely, but get the benefits of it. Yes, so I think that's quite good way to look at it, really.
Yeah, the only away game I've been to this season was a Fulham game, and Sebi was in his full Arsenal kit, and the tickets we got were among the Fulham fans, and they were very sweet. They were very nice to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you shouldn't get many points for just going down to Craven Cottage. You should go down the road.
Yeah, it's true.
But it's not a partisan point. I mean, it's other big clubs here. Man United have suffered from this for years as well. So Chelsea, sure, it's not. It's just something the FA needs to look at, really.
Yeah, completely agree. Okay, so turning to the matches then. Do you guys want to talk about the West Ham game, or should we go straight into the whole game?
Do it chronologically, Steve.
Yeah, West Ham, great night. Fantastic Giroud goal. I mean, he gets all this flack. I think he's, been an absolute workhorse all season. I know people are very critical of him, and he's not the striker we need. But Wenger said the other day that he comes out of every game having had 50 fights, and he's like that. He really fights for the team, and I think that's something we should commend.
Yeah, the weird thing about his goal then as well was he kind of missed that sitter, didn't he? And then he pulled that one out of the air and tucked it away like it was.
Yeah, he's through, wasn't he? 1-on-1 with the keeper, and we all had our heads in our hands. Oh, God, here we go again, Giroud. But that was blind. The way he took that ball down at the Marlon cross with his left foot and then slammed it home with his right. It's fantastic.
Ben, talk me through PoGOALski's goals.
The
West Ham ones, not the whole ones.
They summed him up.
The left foot.
Left foot power blast, wasn't it? You know my feelings on him. I think that sums him up, that he's lethal at the moment, and he can just change a game. It's a shame he can't affect it for more than just a few minutes that he wants to appear. So now it's marvellous to have him in this rich vein of form.
Why do you think he's suddenly coming to form like this? Because he has been a bit disappointing at periods of the season.
I just think it's goals. I just simply think that he's scoring goals. There's times that he just looks like he's not interested.
Yeah, exactly.
And he just sort of strolls around the pitch and doesn't track back or doesn't cover. But as soon as that ball comes in, because he seems to hover around the same sort of section of the pitch, and if the ball isn't in that section, he's not interested. But as soon as it goes in there, he just comes alive, and you see how good of a footballer he can be. I just think it's just lack of application.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is lack of, and also he's like the classic sort of, left-footed striker in that respect. He wants to hang around in that area, and people don't get the ball to him. And if they do, he'll do the business.
As we saw today to skip a game, the goals were just magnificent. The way he hits the ball, it's so strong and true. Like as he kicks the ball, it doesn't sort of spin. It just travels straight through. Like an arrow. It just travels straight through the air. And if he can score goals like that on a regular basis, I can't argue against Steve's BFF to be in the team. I think if he does that, if he's contributing goals, he can start.
I think that's right. If you've got him on form like that, and you've got Ramsey, playing the way Ramsey does, and Ozil. I mean, not the same criticism we made of Ozil, hasn't it? That he doesn't sort of doesn't track back, doesn't make enough effort. But he's sort of. I thought today against Hull, just moving forward, I thought it was like he'd never been away. You would have thought this guy's just been out for several weeks.
Yeah, he looked really good and really lively, and I'm glad that Wenger took him off after 60 minutes, because hopefully we'll ease him in. Talking about PoGOALski, somebody tweeted something earlier about the percentage of season missed from our players, and he would have missed 47% of the season. So actually, when you then look at the amount of goals he scored, it's actually really quite remarkable. But yeah, as much as I love him and have him on the back of my shirt, I completely agree. It's just those moments in the game, isn't it, where he comes to life. And I mean, he's fine with the ball at his feet and passing and stuff, but yeah, I mean, he's not overly dynamic without the ball. But he's got a smasher on him, even with his right foot today. He had one, didn't he?
Yeah. Great strike.
And I think he does care. I mean, everything about him, you know, and everything he does off the pitch and all the rest of it suggests he does care.
Yeah.
It doesn't always show, you know, doesn't show when he's playing. Didn't seem to. Maybe we're seeing a new PoGOALski now. Hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's definitely hope so. So when we talk about the West Ham game, I think we're mainly talking about the second half, aren't we? Because the first half was a bit worrying, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was dire.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's depressing.
It was so lethargic and pretty much symptomatic of the Arsenal that we've seen over the last 6 weeks, and it was almost as if the funk and malaise of the recent sort of month, or pretty much most of March, had enveloped the team, and then it was almost as if they had to get into half time for Arsene Wenger to say, you do realise that we had August, September, October, November, December, January and February where we were top of the league and we were the best team in the league we've been the best team in the league for most of the season. And then it all changed. The tempo changed, finding players, actually finding red shirts. I thought Kim Kallstrom was alright, but he made loads of misplaced passes in the first half, but in the second half he was brilliant.
Yeah.
And so many players were like that, and Cazorla particularly was like that as well. And he was like that today. He misplaced quite a few passes today, but still, he was still the guy that set up the first goal.
Yeah.
And the second half, he was a lot better.
And that cutback to Ramsey as well for the PoGOALski goal was, fantastic.
Yeah.
Was it the header, or was that the other one?
No, the other one, when Ramsey shot and the goalkeeper saved with his foot.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, it's almost as if we really just don't understand first halves, and as a team, it's like, why bother with first halves? Second half is where the business gets done. So let's just do that. And it's a bit strange because
we tweeted it's like we have to go 1-0 down before we start playing. It's not good.
Yeah.
No, it's not good for our health.
No, definitely not. Thankfully, that didn't happen today, though.
I never really had any problem in the first half against West Ham in terms of thinking we're not going to lose this game, but it was like they played away against Everton, that terrible game when they just they just sort of, it's like they were half asleep or something, really drunk or something. It's awful.
Yeah, you could see the sense of frustration in the crowd as well. I mean, when we went 1-0 down, there was a couple of people nearly fighting near us, and then this guy who sat in front of us, he's not usually there, but he dropped, got up, walked out, and I never saw him again for the rest of the match.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was gonna say to you, what was it like being there? Because at home I was watching it with my brother, and obviously they started creating chances. Then Jarvis got the header, but we were all right, obviously, because we weren't there and we didn't get caught up in the atmosphere. But I just said we sort of said between us that we're comfortable here. I know we haven't really done anything, but we're not all over the shop. And I just think, like Chris said, the second half they'd realised, hang on a minute, we got to do something. But I think it was that PoGOALski got that goal before half time.
It was vital we were actually 1-1.
Yes.
For the atmosphere, because I imagine that there would have been boos. Arsene Wenger would have had to give a rollicking at half time, or Steve Bold, or insert name of choice. I think that was massive.
Exactly. It was all right going in 1-1, but going 1-0, I think everybody would have been very unhappy. And where we were, when we went 1-0 down, I think everyone just decided, we've got to support the team even more and be negative. There was always a few negative voices. There was a guy behind me at Wembley in the semi-final that every time an Arsenal player got a ball, would just start swearing and telling them how fucking useless they were. And the rest of us was like, shut up. What supporter are you?
Yeah. It's almost like, what's the point? You've spent 50 odd quid to be here. What's the point in doing that? You're clearly not enjoying it, so, give up your ticket to someone else.
Yeah.
It was a bit like Twitter today, though. When we scored our first goal, I tweeted, "We've scored. Can we go 5 minutes without slagging our players off now?"
Good tweet. Yeah.
And it was just so frustrating. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
But I mean, it has been a frustrating period of time, hasn't it? But hopefully we'll push on from this. So as we did today. So let's talk about today's game then.
Yeah, can we talk about the really, really important pressing issue of today, which is, how is Mikel Arteta going to smile properly ever again? I think he should keep it. I think he should keep his gap as like a sign of his war horse mentality for the rest of the season.
About today as well, can we put to bed that Chesney is a better goalkeeper than Fabianski now? Because that kind of keeps cropping up. Because Fabianski saved a couple of penalties, people are calling him to be number one now. They kind of forget he came running out of his goal in the semi-final.
Yeah, I think Chesney's, he's a really good shot stopper, and he hasn't had these rushes of blood to the head this season like he did last season. And I think he's matured. I think he's goalkeeper. Really.
Yeah. And hopefully he'll get better and better as well, because he's still only young. Was he 24 the other day? Did I see something about it being his birthday or something?
Yeah. 24.
Ben, talk me through Podolski's goals.
I refuse to talk about him anymore. It was brilliant to win a game with such ease. I was talking to Chris before how the sort of overall play I thought was just abysmal, but the quality of goals was just magnificent. Similar to the Norwich, where we were debating whose goal was better. It was a similar sort of game where our play was just poor, but the goals were fantastic. But the players looked buoyed by the return of Ozil and Ramsey, I thought. You could just see Ramsey's running and people having options. Santi today, that's what he needs. He needs movement, and he got that today. So I thought he looked better for that. But there's an interesting stat that someone tweeted that Ramsey's been involved in all of our last 4 goals, whether it be him scoring or an assist.
Yeah.
So I think we can well and truly say that he's back.
Yeah. That's not a bad stat at all, is it? Really?
No.
What a difference!
Ozil does a lot for the team as well, just by being there, being Ozil. You saw that from the very start of the season. Just gives them an extra dimension. He's one of those players. That he's capable of doing something really, that will change games. And to have somebody like that in your team and just giving that confidence and that kind of sense of, we are, the best players in the world. I think it's really done the team a lot of good this season. I think we missed him a lot as well.
He's got that. He's just got the Bergkamp about him, hasn't he? That to use a Bergkamp term, he was balletic. There was a point where 2 guys chased him over to the sort of the sideline, and he just sort of Cruyff turned through the middle of them, and you just sort of think, oh, that's why we paid 42 million for that man.
Yeah,
it's just magnificent.
Yep.
I've got just to change the subject slightly. I've got Barcelona Bilbao on, and Barcelona have just gone 1-0 down against Athletic Bilbao.
I think if they lose that'll be the first time that they've lost 4 games on the trot for forever or something.
Yeah.
Since time began. And do you know what they're going to need to do? They're going to need to sort of make some signings, aren't they, in the summer?
So messy.
Yeah.
Do you think that will still stand? Do you think they'll manage to get that overturned or not?
Okay.
Yeah, I think they probably will. I'd like to see it stand, but I think they'll probably get round it somehow.
They're too powerful as a football club.
But surely from an Arsenal perspective, you'd want them to be able to make transfers, because they always get rid of players, and they've got 2 or 3 that would be fantastic on our left side.
Yeah.
Pedro, Sanchez, even Teo. They won't need all of them. Delafeu's going back.
Pedro would be nice.
Yeah, take that.
Songs playing, they zoomed in on him when it went 1-0 down.
That was worth it.
So did you guys watch the rest of the football today as well?
Yeah.
I just watched the Everton Man United game before. I didn't watch the Liverpool game. But apparently Norwich played quite well and they're quite unlucky enough to come out 2-2.
Liverpool trounced them straight away, as they do come out of the traps. They got their quick goals.
Yeah.
And then as the game went on, Norwich got into it, and it was quite amusing because Liverpool just started taking them out as the game went on. They sort of run out of tactics, or marvellous Brendan Rodgers. He didn't know what to do, so they were just sort of simply kicking people to the ground.
Well, the whole Arsenal game was quite tough, isn't it? And we were quite physical today, which I think is a good sign.
Yeah, it was, especially the first kind of 10-15 minutes. There were some real battles, weren't there? When Arteta lost his tooth, there was some real battles going about, actually.
Yeah, we didn't get bullied, which is what happens sometimes.
And Huddleston decided that he was going to try and, stud Arteta to the back of the shoulder. So that was another one.
Yeah, and get away with it completely.
He got away with it. He got away with about 4 or 5 challenges during the day. But Monreal made a couple of nice little tasty challenges. So we were happy to bite back as much as we got bitten. But I thought, do you know what I thought was interesting about today? I think I said it this morning when I was doing my match preview. To be successful, Olivier Giroud, I thought we had an alright game, but he needs to have bodies around him in order to be successful. And anytime he's not successful, anytime he doesn't look on form, there's acres of space between him and the next Arsenal player.
Yeah.
And I think at times today, when we were at our most lethal, he tended to be involved in the play, and it was players around him. And you could tell the role and the impact that Ozil and Ramsey make on his performance, because he's suddenly got, unlike with Chamberlain as well. If Chamberlain's playing, I know they weren't on the field together at the same time, but Chamberlain and Ramsey run beyond Giroud and provide options, and you've got players like Ozil or Cazorla or PoGOALski that, as long as they sit tight to Giroud, then they can receive the ball off him and then play other players in.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Because we said last week, wasn't it, that we're like a jigsaw puzzle. You take a few of the bits out and it's useless. And like you said, it's how it's been. But it's interesting because since we've played this formation, we've always left our centre forward very isolated. I remember days watching Van Persie. I remember a game against Spurs where he just didn't touch. I think we lost that day, but he didn't touch the ball once. He didn't win any headers. And I think it's just how the striker deals with being isolated, and I think that will separate the quality of striker, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but you should never leave the striker isolated. That's not, playing that formation. The idea is that the midfield push up to support him, and he should be isolated. And if they're not doing their job, it's not blame Giroud or anyone else for not being able to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
can't do it all on your own.
No.
Did you think that was a comprehensive? I mean, the scoreline suggests it's comprehensive. I mean, this is to Steve, Glenn, Ben. Do you think do you think it was as comprehensive as it looked, scoreline wise, in terms of our overall play?
No. We scored marvellous goals, but it didn't really flow. There was a lot of misplaced passes, but I think the goals will be psychologically massive, because I don't know how many times we've won 3-0 this year. Have we done that quite a lot, or? It seems like we haven't.
2-0.
Yeah, it seems like we haven't scored 3 in such a long time. And I think psychologically, I think that'd be quite massive. A lot of the photos were flying around on Twitter of all the guys in the changing room and hugging, and obviously they're happy because they've just won 3-0 and they're sort of winding up Arteta. But it looked like a bit of camaraderie was back. So I think it'd be interesting to see how we do next week.
It's very good for the morale going into the cup final, and bad for Hull's morale as well. Even with Long and whoever else is having the other play, they got beaten. I thought they were better. I saw, the Arsenal game against Hull at home when we won 2-0. I mean, they looked like rabbits in the headlights half the time at Hull.
Yeah.
I thought today they didn't. But, we beat them by an extra goal, so that's good.
Mm.
So talking about the Newcastle game, so we've got, is it 8 days? It's next Monday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you guys think the lineup will be? Because I was actually really surprised, given how many games he played, and I think actually he played well and battled well, that Arteta played today, actually, after playing so much football recently. What do you guys think the team will be against Newcastle? What do you think, Ben?
You've got to go the same, haven't you? I said last week that I wasn't sure about Ramsey starting just out of fitness, and again today he's played another full 90 minutes. You mentioned it earlier, Steve. I was pleased that Ozil got taken off. But I think you've just got to go with the same again, because they have 8 days off. So I think at the moment that's our strongest team. So
what about Kallstrom instead of Arteta for the Newcastle game?
Yeah, possibly. I'd quite like to see him again, because against West Ham it was quite nice to see someone he looked so happy. I don't know what happened from where you guys were sitting, but he just
happy and massive.
Happy and massive. He just looked like a little kid running around. But he played some very obviously his passing at first, he kept trying those chip through balls, didn't he, into space that no one was there. But he was nice because he passes forwards a lot, and it's quite refreshing to see that. So, yeah, maybe. What do you reckon then, Glenn? Would you like to see him?
Yeah, I think possibly. I mean, I think you're right. You need to play your best team. You need to win that game, and I think to play the same lineup as today would be fine. But he's got options, and he's got Rosicki as well, who play well against a team like Newcastle. I think because I'm not sure they can cope with him particularly well. And obviously the Ox is available. When is Wilshere back? Do you know?
There was a lot
back in training, but I don't know when he's available.
But he probably won't be back for a couple of weeks. I reckon Wenger will bed him in for the West Brom game and probably give him a chance for the Norwich game. I'm hoping that Norwich game is a dead rubber. It would just be useful for Everton to drop points against Southampton and then against Man City, because it would be useful for us to be able to beat Newcastle at home, beat West Brom at home, and then rest them all, or at least do a bit of rotation in prep for the final. I mean, there's a week between the last game of the season and the final, thankfully. They've got rid of that madness that they had last season where Wigan played us like 3 days after they'd won the FA Cup. But I'd like to see, I hope we can get it wrapped up, full spot wrapped up by winning our next 2 home games and hoping that others do us a favour.
Yeah, let's hope so. We certainly should win those games.
I'm just looking up on the website about Wilshere. So it says, speaking on the April the 18th, ahead of the West Ham game, Arsene Wenger said Jack should start to jog this week. It's all going well. We have to monitor him now day by day. I think the next 3 weeks will be very important for him. It doesn't really give much away.
Yeah, that's where they can't probably at this stage. I think we really missed Walcott as well. I mean, what we've lacked with all these injuries is anything to frighten the opposition defence. No pace, as everyone keeps saying. And, Ramsey scares them, and that's great. And Walcott bloody terrifies them. We really miss him, I think.
Yes, big time.
I've been saying to people, where would Liverpool be if, let's say, Suarez, Sturridge, and Gerrard have been injured for the last 3 months?
Yeah.
They wouldn't be top of the league, that's for sure.
No, certainly not.
Do you think they'll win it, Glenn?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, definitely. I think the wind is in their sails, and
they're getting all of the fortune as well, like the West Ham game, that second penalty, which wasn't a penalty.
And Man City. I mean, Man City about 2 or 3 penalties.
Yeah, so that. And then today, the third goal, I think they scored, wasn't it? Like a massive deflection with Lukas.
Yeah, Sterling proper
and
shanked
went in.
it in.
Yeah, and you're just thinking.
With a lot like that, it feels like their year. And I personally would be happy for them to win it since we can't than Chelsea or Man City. Much happier for Liverpool. But I know not everyone agrees with that. But I quite like Liverpool as a football club. At least they're not just trying to buy it.
But surely, Glenn, you're of the era where the Liverpool fans, they were just surely unbearable in the 80s, and it must have been horrible.
Yeah, but
70s
I also
and 80s.
remember Liverpool winning everything, the European Cup several times in the 70s, and they were just an awesome team.
Yeah.
Fantastic team. And the fans need something to keep us alive, I suppose, to still do something. And then, at that time, Chelsea fans were really bloody dreadful as well.
Okay, guys, we're coming to the end of the half an hour now. So what we do now, Glenn, is we just do. I asked you guys if you've got any final thoughts before we close off. Anything from you this week, Ben?
No, I'm just really looking forward to the last couple of games, and I think we should win them, and we should be secure in fourth. And I agree that hopefully by the Norwich game, if Everton drop some points, then it should be academic. And I think for the season, despite what happened earlier in the season, the fact that we really thought we were in a great chance of winning the league this year, I think if we win the FA Cup and come fourth, it's not a bad season. It's something to build up for next year.
Definitely. And we would have definitely taken that at the start of the season, I think. So let's hope it happens. How about you, Chris?
Just this one horrible thought. Aaron Ramsey stays fit for the whole season, and I think we win the league.
Yes.
That's it.
He doesn't go to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, just to echo really what Glenn and Chris said, really. It'd be fantastic to be in a comfortable position so we can get ready for the FA Cup, because it'd be massive. this season has been an upward curve. Maybe not as drastic as some would like, but we're definitely on the way up. So let's go out with a bang. It'd be lovely.
Yep, echo everything you guys said, and just going to say end product, Lukas PoGOALski. And regardless of who we sign, I hope he stays, because I think we need to add rather than replace.
Oh yeah, we don't want any of them to go. We just want to put on top of what we've got. That's the issue. That's my biggest bugbear, is that we never have enough numbers.
Yeah.
We have the quality, we just simply need numbers.
Definitely. Okay, guys, well, thank you very much. Thanks for coming on, Glenn.
Cheers, pleasure, enjoyed it.
And Suburban Gooners out.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.